Good evening, everyone. Gary Gabagool here with my boy Sal. And this is number 28 Red Podcast. And for about 30 seconds, I'm just going to be quiet because we're listening to Ann and Nancy Wilson. You guys all know the song. 1977, 40 years ago, Barracuda comes out. And just listen to this woman's voice. Incredible. Sal and I were just talking. We're saying she probably has one of the best rock voices. Probably one of the best voices, never rock, just best voices of all time.
All time. So good.
I mean, listen to this.
I still dig hard every now and then.
Yeah, it's
how can you not?
I saw them a couple years ago at the PNC with Def Leppard, and they were phenomenal. So here she is, probably 62 years old, still got it. But listen to this woman. But we thought Sal picked a song, and we thought it'd be incredibly appropriate with what has transpired the last week since our last broadcast. And there's one thing I wanted to mention. You're going to see two common themes in the Red Podcast this week too. And one is this. There's a pervasive theme. One is this. Every mess in our country today, every single thing that we see going on across our country that's a complete debacle has the stink of the Democratic National Party and its members in it. Every single one. That's number one. Number two, and I said this, I'm going to do it for Sal. He don't have to do it for himself. I'm going to pat Sal on the back. I'm going to pat myself on the back. The second theme is predictions. I went back and watched a bunch of our podcasts from 1 through. What's going to occur in our podcast today, Sal and I have pretty much almost predicted every single thing. Some as far as 10 weeks ago. Some as far as 20 weeks ago.
Some as far as 28 weeks ago.
Yeah, and then some
episode
last
1
week.
Yeah.
So, obviously, what we're going to start off with is a no-brainer. Hollywood is just a plain and simple shit show. And I'm going to take the tact that Hollywood is right along the lines of the NFL. And what I mean by that is you have two incredibly profitable in the past, very powerful entities that have just shot themselves in the foot due to their absorption of Democratic National Committee liberal policies. Yeah. Both of these groups thought that their products were so rock solid that all the rest of America would just ignore, forget, not care. And that was proved this week. And I'm going to even basically transition into entertainment, meaning not movies, more like music, even this week with someone like Eminem, Jimmy Kimmel, who's not he's not a movie star and he's not in Hollywood. But he's in Hollywood. But both of these individuals said that they want conservatives not to watch their show, not to buy their tickets.
No one does already. So
well, that's the point. But the fact that their arrogance can be
Eminem, the arrogance, there. So it's like, dude, we stopped caring about rap 8 years ago.
Correct.
Man. Like, we're sorry. Like, you had to do this. You had to come out. You had to lose 80 pounds because you were addicted to opiates, and you finally lost the weight so you could be on camera and look good.
Right.
But rap that died like. I mean, Nas said rap is dead.
Yep.
That was like fucking 20 years ago.
Yep.
It's over. That whole genre of music. It's like,
lasted a long
who's
time.
Listening to this? And the funny part is, who's listening to hip hop?
White girls.
White girls.
Yep.
And white boys.
Yep.
And what do you think they're gonna do now? Like, they're like listen to it so ambiguous already. They're not attached to it. So now they're just like, all right, I don't need to listen to this shit.
It's just bizarre to me. Like you've seen this happen over the last week or so, where a couple guys from the NFL, a couple people in media or TV, they still just keep thinking that they're bulletproof, and it couldn't be further from the truth. They're just, the NFL ratings are plummeting.
40 points from the start of the season till now. They posted on Twitter today, and obviously everywhere on social media, like 5 or 6 of the stadiums, even including MetLife,
all good
in our backyard.
Excellent.
They're all half empty.
Yep.
All the Jacksonville one, it was like you couldn't believe an actual game was taking place there. You did, like, what are they doing filming on an off day? Like, no, that was during kickoff.
Well, it's good Sal's telling me because I don't know, because I didn't watch a second of it. I don't even know who won, who lost. I don't even. And here's the funny part is I don't even care. I didn't care.
It doesn't matter in real life. No. What the fuck does the Bears winning or losing actually affect anyone? No, it doesn't. It's entertainment. This is what these people fail to realize, is that they're entertainers,
right? And
that we pay them for their entertainment of us. And now, since they got political and they're not entertaining no more, guess what I'm not going to do? Pay them.
That's the thing that's hilarious, is that they've lost focus. And believe me, as much as I call Roger Goodell a lot of names, he didn't lose focus because he is nervous. I will guarantee you, since this occurred, and especially this past week when they kept looking at the numbers and their advertisers are cutting their asking prices. He is having skull sessions probably 3 times a day on how to lasso this mess that's going in.
It's all about the bottom line.
It's about the bottom line, and it's over. It's over. Like Sal said, people don't care. Once you do something like as pure, football is a game of purity. It's men getting on a field who are ultra talented, are physical specimens, and they're going out there to play a game that we all enjoy. As kids, we either love playing it, we love watching it, some people love betting on it, whatever the case may be. Once you inject politics into any sporting event, it's like poisoning the purity. And now and what do you do when you enter poison in someone's body? You kill it. They kill the game. And I will guarantee you, this will never come back. Never. They could apologize a million times. The taste in everybody's mouth is so bad. You just have people that don't care. And the part of the interesting part of this whole process is once people lose interest in like football to the point where, the pinnacle of what we believe in is God and country. That's why they use those 2 languages. Then when they completely disrespect our country, and all those things, people just don't care anymore. They've lost interest. And that's what's going to happen in Hollywood, to get back to that. They just see, and I've said this from day one, and I put a video up about late last week, I'm sorry. And I don't know if you know who Roman Polanski is? Yeah, he's a director. He won an Oscar for The Pianist, but he couldn't accept it because he's in France somewhere in hiding, because when he was 43, he gave a 13-year-old a shitload of Quaaludes at Jack Nicholson's house. Don't forget that. And then he raped and sodomized her.
Apparently there was more than just one of them girls, too.
Yeah, there were several. Young girls. Now, the thing that
13 or 14.
Right, 13 or 14. Like 4 a group of them. The thing I don't understand is this.
And not at the same time, obviously.
Right, but how is it that you have men, and these aren't like 21-year-old guys, and that's even wrong, but you have 43-year-old men. And why would they even want to be around 13-year-old girls unless you're a sick fuck? And Polanski wins the award. He's not allowed to be there. And Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, who I used to like previous to watching this. Now, I'm going to play Harrison Ford. I'm going to be, I'm going to do a hypothetical, make believe I'm Harrison Ford. If he was an honorable man, like I thought he may have been, but obviously not. But you're live. You can say whatever you want. You have the crowd of Hollywood people, all the top people in the industry of every movie. So, I'm not going to name and waste your time, but every top 50 Hollywood actor, actress, director, producer are there. Harrison Ford, if he was a stand-up guy, would have said, after he had to announce Roman Polanski's name, because obviously he didn't know who won, I would have said, who in the audience has 13-year-old children or grandkids? And I would have watched everybody's hands stand up. And I would have said, this man who won raped your daughter, your granddaughter. And I would have got the fucking Oscar, slammed it like a football, spiked it, and walked off. Instead, what happened? He went on to say how great he was and, how wonderful he was, and more ass-kissing involved. And then what happened next utterly disgusted me. They gave this friggin' sleazeball a standing ovation. And then when every person, and not many people asked, but when they were asked after the ceremony why they gave a standing ovation to a pedophile, felon, criminal, they said this: oh, this is ridiculous. You have to separate the art from the crime. I mean, how much of a scumbag do you have to be to use those words? And that's why nobody listens to you. Nobody. Because you think you're going to give advice to ordinary citizens like Sal and I and all the deplorables. You don't mean shit to us. Because when you do stuff like this, if that happened to Sal, me, anybody watching this podcast, you would be in jail for 50 years minimum. And he wasn't even man enough to settle up and go for the crime. Like a coward, he scooted off.
What it shows to me about this whole Hollywood debacle and all this stuff that's dropping, all the actresses, actors, and all this stuff coming out now, especially all the ones that spoke out against Trump.
Right. Yes.
All these people are coming out now because it's like the fashionable thing to do.
Correct.
And maybe it did happen to them.
Correct.
So be it. But they had to do what they had to do at that point in their career to get where they got now.
Correct.
So they're not. So let's bring it back to what I just said. They're not just going against Trump, saying all this crazy, hateful stuff because they're being maybe told to, maybe put up to it financially.
Yep.
Maybe, hey, you can get this role in this movie if you say this, this, and this.
Yeah, they're all like herds of cows.
Yeah, they're sheep.
Yep. Yeah.
So like, I mean, it's plain for me to see. I know it's got to be plain for you guys to see too. So.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I started off the podcast with a pervasive theme: the stink of the Democratic Party and liberals. Harvey Weinstein, every single aspect of this man's career has Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton written all over it.
Oh, you mean that he donated all this money?
Tons and tons of money.
Wasn't that
tons
much?
Of money? Well, here's the funny thing.
Wasn't that much money?
Just like 10 or 12 million.
He donated to Bill Clinton's legal defense team when he was charged with rape.
Yeah, this is how much money he's got.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I saw an interview today where Chelsea, Hillary's daughter, was walking through and someone ran up and said, "Are you going to give the money back?" And she ran off like the little skank she is. But I heard someone from the Clinton Foundation said they will not be giving the money back. They will not.
They need that money.
Yeah,
they're broke.
They need that money. But the funny part of this is just to build on what Sal said. All of these individuals who all had, before the election, were the biggest smartasses saying that Donald Trump had no shot of winning the presidency. Guys like George Clooney, Ben Affleck, Jimmy Kimmel, all these idiots. Okay. Every single one of them was outed or indicted by someone formally that they were involved with. Like George Clooney used to brag. Now here's a funny thing. George Clooney went around criticizing President Trump for what he said. Him and a couple guys on that show, St. Elsewhere, where he was starring, they used to call themselves the Pussy Grabbers. And excuse me, that was confirmed by Vanessa Marquez, who was one of the stars of the show. In addition, they used to racially slur her. She's a Mexican actress. They used to racially slur her and tell her to go mow their lawns or go pick up their laundry or go get them coffee. And that's George Clooney now, who always tries to be makes believe that he's the uber sensitive, feigning outrage on President Trump, and this is the shit he's pulling. Ben Affleck, same thing. He was the one that was grabbing girls' boobs during a
TRL, man. That
exactly.
Was that. I got home from elementary school and saw that.
Exactly. And then we have Jimmy Kimmel doing the same thing. Another piece of shit.
But Jimmy Kimmel is the best, I think, out of all of them.
Yeah.
There's that shows you true right there too. The mind of a liberal Democrat. Did they forget that Jimmy Kimmel was host of The Man Show?
Yep.
With Adam Carolla?
Yeah,
The Man Show, the most misogynistic thing that you could ever. They had these girls that would come out wearing they would call them juggies because they all had huge tits and they would make them do wet t-shirt contests.
Yep.
Are you kidding me with this? Yep. Are you kidding, Jimmy Kimmel? Are you joking?
This is the same guy Sal's talking about that got up now that he's married. Got up in his monologue and made believe he cried. I just wonder how much saline solution he squirted in his eye before he
And he
came
lied,
up there.
too, about that pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, he lied.
Totally lied about that because Trump's healthcare plan, even at that shit one that he put out there, did cover it.
Yep.
So he was lying about that, even though it didn't get passed.
Yeah, so you see, these guys are all huge financial supporters of these liberal politicians, huge. But I also have one other question, and it's funny to me, but where are all the marches? Where are all the marches? All these femi-Nazis, I call them, who are so outraged about this and that and everything going on in our country. I mean, this is the typical thing that these feminazis should be marching on. This was the abuse for 30 some odd years of women in an industry as powerful.
Ashley Judd?
Where is Ashley Judd? Why isn't she calling Harvey Weinstein names? He actually did something bad to a woman, many women. Why isn't Madonna saying, let's go to Harvey Weinstein's house and blow it up?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Maybe because he fed their pockets for so long.
Exactly.
Now it's not fashionable.
And they got their tongue so far up Harvey Weinstein's ass because he can make or break your career, which that's been proven before.
Yeah, the best was Hillary Clinton coming out too. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
How can you say anything? You're married to Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, the biggest sexual predator in the country. You're married to him.
Yep. And Sal and I spoke about this. She was overseas doing an interview, and they asked her who could she compare Harvey Weinstein. And I will guarantee you, if you asked 100 people what their brains are functioning, who is Harvey Weinstein, 99 would say
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton. She said Donald Trump, which right there just shows she has zero credibility, and she's basically a worthless piece of shit. Matter of fact, a piece of shit has more value than Hillary Clinton, because a piece of shit, you put it on lawn, will fertilize it over time.
Flowers and
grow flowers. Hillary Clinton
she's fucking cyanide.
She's poison. Exactly. She's poison.
Speaking of the poison bitch herself, she went on today on Four Corners, this Australian media, and they were kind of grilling her about WikiLeaks and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm shocked she went.
She was like kind of like this in her chair, real smug.
Yeah.
Talking down with the crazy huge bags under her eyes.
Yeah.
And she
doesn't like to be asked those questions. You could tell.
And she said, she's like, well, I believe Julian Assange and Russia and the United States all colluded together against me. And now,
what else would you expect from this woman?
She didn't say nothing about the information being false,
right,
or not right, or being not just. She just said that it was the leak that was the thing that brought her down the election. Listen, lady, you're a fraud criminal. You didn't even deny that you're a fraud criminal. You can't even say to the camera, I didn't do that, because you did. You're a criminal. And it's just like, that's why you lost. But
I mean, we could, throughout this entire podcast, you're going to hear a lot of themes like we talked about, like Hillary Clinton and everything. But there was another part of this Hollywood thing I want to mention. And it was an interesting article I read. And it's pretty credible because the person who said it is a pretty high-profile person, and this is his language. He said that in Hollywood there is a plethora of sick fucks. That's Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man. That's his exact words. And basically he said, if you guys are familiar, in Hollywood there used to be an evil character called Rosetta Stone. That was her name. It was kind of like a tagline, but her real name is Diana Jenkins, and she's from Hungary, same place as George Soros. Go figure. And she was running a pedophile ring with her husband, who just happened to be the president, uber wealthy, of Barclay Banks out of London. And what Diana Jenkins would do was running a pedophile and a hooker escort service or child trafficking to Arabs, very wealthy Arabs, princes, Asians, Hollywood actors and models, high production people like that. Also, there's and I don't know this man, but Robert Downey Jr. said there's a man named Dan Schneider, and he's a Nickelodeon producer. Go figure this. This is a piece of shit that makes shows for children. Go figure. And he's one of these pedophilia type guys.
I mean, Corey Feldman came out with a view that was cycling around the internet.
Well,
today.
It's funny you say that because I have
Elijah Wood.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch that Corey, it's funny because this just goes to show you that kid, and now he's a man, he was victimized by those women on that show again. The kid was so heartfelt, and you can't forget that his friend committed suicide, was involved with drugs, and then committed suicide because they said he was raped so many times by so many. He was the good-looking one. I don't know if you remember him. His name was Corey Haim. He was a good-looking little kid, and they said they would just gangbang this kid. They would circle him and just gangbang him. And eventually, and he was on the show crying, and Barbara Walters and Joy Behar and Whoopi are kind of like saying, everybody in Hollywood, they were like attacking this kid or this guy now. But
doesn't seem so far off now, does it?
And the thing is, I watched the video. I don't watch The View, but I watched the video clip. I watched it several times. and it's disturbing for me because you could see the pain in his face, and I don't know what it's like for that to happen. I could just imagine the horror and how doing that to a 6 or 7 or 8 year old boy just completely destroys your world.
Just
wrecks you for life.
Just not even going with the kids and stuff. Just think about being a normal actor with a normal age. You're trying to make it in life. You want to be a movie star.
Right.
You think this is your huge break.
Yep.
And what do? You're gonna fucking ruin it because you can't watch some guy jerk off. It's just like, fuck.
Right.
What do I do?
What do you do? Yeah. I mean, and this woman is very close friends of guys like George Clooney and Sean Penn, the big mouths of the industry. These are the guys who abuse. Now, I don't know if those guys were involved with children. I can't say that. He didn't say if he knew it either. But these are the people that they affiliate themselves with. And this woman and her husband, without a doubt, are doing this. And so
that's from Robert Downey Jr.'s mouth.
Yeah, that's not us. That's Robert Downey Jr. coming out. And he's not the only one. I mean, we talked about this. There's other people doing this. Doing this. Isn't what's his name doing it? The guy that was with Demi Moore.
Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, he's doing that too, right?
Yeah, he has his own foundation.
Right.
So they're trying.
So he's another one. He probably knew what was going on too.
That's the sad part about it. He's so in the quiet now. He's another one that could just mysteriously end up dead.
Yep. I mean, so this is something that is rampant, and we talked about it, and we still haven't forgot. There's two words that we haven't mentioned in a while, and this ties perfectly in this is Pizzagate.
Yeah.
Pizzagate. Really satanic worshiping, children being abused, multiple DNC members doing it. Hillary Clinton's top advisor did it. One of the top senators did it. It's all over the place.
Yeah, they're gonna, and it's all Democrats and all.
It's all Democrats.
And now what you're gonna see is the transference at an all-time crazy level. We talk about liberal transference. That's when they do what they're doing that's bad and blame the other person for doing it. So the transference now is they're going to say Trump did all this stuff. Trump is just like Harvey Weinstein.
Well, that's gonna be our prediction.
That's the prediction.
It's probably happening.
And they're going to try to connect him with this guy Jerry. This is where it's going to backfire on them big time because this is where it's going to kill the Clintons.
Yeah.
They're going to try to connect Trump with this guy Jerry Epstein, and we talked about the Lolita Express on the show before. He's the guy who ran it. He's the guy who had that private island and fly all these senators and congressmen and presidents to the island to have sex with children.
Yep.
So they're going to try to connect Trump with this guy. The thing is, Trump has no connection with this guy. None. Like zero. He met him once. Trump actually saw the pedophilia. I don't know if you know this.
I do not know this.
This is from hearsay, underground sources. Trump actually saw the pedophilia go on when he was much younger at this guy Jerry Epstein's house, and he walked the fuck out immediately.
Right.
He's like, I can't be a part of this. I can't know you. I can't fucking be a part of this.
Well, think about what Sal's saying. They're going to accuse Trump of doing this, but every single person that's accusing him is the person that was on that island in plane.
It's connected with the Clintons.
Exactly.
And the real this is where I really think the downfall and the arrogance of the Democratic Party. This is where November 4th will be a day of reckoning, probably, because this Jerry Epstein guy is so connected to Bill Clinton, so connected to Hillary Clinton. There's so much evidence connecting them that there's no way it's not going to go against them in a horrible way. And that might be like the slap down, you're going to jail, we got you now type moment. Yeah. That's what I've been praying for, is something like this to happen. And it's going to come out of their own just arrogance. It's what it's going to come from.
It's amazing. I think they're so panic stricken, because you got to think about it, people. Since Donald J. Trump took office, he's taken down everybody. Think about this. Think about if he was a boxer. He's knocked out every opponent within one round. And let me tell you something. This guy has been outmanned, outgunned, outnumbered, and he still has won every single time. Please, liberals, continue to call him a dummy like you do, which is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, call him stupid.
If he's stupid and he's winning, what the hell are your guys? Retarded? Like monosyllabic, like mutes? This is ridiculous. Guy wins every single time.
Yeah, and if this dumb guy is winning, really, what does that make your guy?
Exactly. And it's been proven, factual. He's won. If you don't think it's true, he beat Hillary Clinton. 99% of liberals said he wasn't. 99.99 said he wasn't going to win. He won. The Russia thing. He won that. couldn't prove a damn thing. He went against the NFL, the most powerful organization in sports, beat them. And I can go on and on. I don't want to bore you, but he's won every single time, every time. So that's something. And speaking of President Trump, today was interesting. We're in the theme of this thing, we talked about, what was going to happen. Media fabrications. You don't know that's rampant in this country. Today, there was a gentleman by the name of James Lee Witt. If you people don't know this name, look him up. James Lee Witt was the FEMA director appointed by none other than President Bill Clinton. So I guess with you liberals, he has some viability. He has some qualifications. Your hero, Bill Clinton, appointed him, and he did a good job for President Clinton. I don't know the man. Never really heard of him very much. Knew his name, but never knew. But I know he did well. Well, today he came out and said that President Trump, on every single crisis, including Puerto Rico. So for the mayor of Puerto Rico, the mayor. I'm sorry, the mayor of San Juan made her look like a complete fool. He gave President Trump a A+ rating in grade system. He said it couldn't have been done any better for the amount of catastrophes happening in that short span of time, between the hurricanes, between the earthquake, between the fires, between everything. He said the magnitude, he said it was amazing the way it was done.
I mean, those fires, there's really nothing you can do.
No, I mean, he could do whatever he could do. But he said how on the ball he was. So I would like someone to come out, and like we always talk about, you'll hear the retraction or the apology at 1 o'clock in the morning on ABC News, and they'll talk real fast, and they'll say like, barely, audible. And who's watching ABC News at 1 o'clock? Nobody. Yeah. Or they'll put it in the article in the New York Times on the very bottom. They'll throw a little on the next to last page. That. So, but that nobody is giving this man any credit for anything, except for the deplorables and people who want to know the truth in this country.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of people out there too.
Yeah.
It's like the election when they were doing like, who are you voting for? I don't know. People are just going to be underground with all their. But a lot of people just want to keep secrets now. They're not keep secrets. They just want to keep the information to themselves. They see what happens when you go out publicly with it. People fucking annihilate you one way or the other. So it's just like, let me just keep to myself, and I'm going to think my way.
Yep. And there's another thing I want to mention. And what did we hear? And I'm sorry, I'm gonna have. This is going to be a little bit of a rip on the lesbian, gay, transgender community. And even some, I guess you could put liberals in there, but what did we hear when President Trump was elected? They said, "Oh my God, he's gonna destroy the gays, he's gonna destroy the liberals. Destroy the transgenders." Well, guess what happened today, people? If you didn't hear about this, last year there was a transgender male who was murdered by some animal. He was young, and it finally came into go to court. It's going in next week. And what did President Trump do today? And that victim's name was Kendari Johnson. What did he do today? He sent out special prosecutors from D.C. to oversee that specific case to make sure that it's a hate and bias crime, and that they gave this criminal who murdered this young boy or man the full extent of the law of a hate crime. And Jeff Sessions took part in that too. So that was kind of a big thing because everyone said Jeff Sessions was homophobic, he's a Bible Belt guy, but they both came out. So again, the media fabricated the story, made them look out like they hate the gays and lesbians and transgenders. People took that for a ride. They got that information, they spew it out all over the internet. People on The View, people on all these shows, and here you are. Not what he said, what he did. Those prosecutors went out today, and he's making sure that this guy is basically given the full letter of the law of prosecution. So how could you not, say, I'm not looking to get a pat on the back of President Trump or Jeff Sessions. That's their job. But if I'm not patting them on the back, you people who said he would never do such a thing or said he would hurt you people are liars and should apologize and say, hey, that's a great thing President Trump and Jeff Sessions just did. And so that's the shit that bothers me, is the immense amount of hypocrisy, which seems to be the common word and theme going around America in the last 10 days. I mean, hypocrisy. It's like air you breathe. It's like in your face everywhere you turn. Because liberals are hypocrites. Bottom line.
Yeah.
What do you got there, brother?
Well, the Department of Justice, is that Jeff Sessions too?
Yes.
So I guess Sessions is doing something today too. DOJ, they found 30 pages of missing documents from Tarmac meeting, the infamous Tarmac meeting.
Oh yeah.
Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton. So,
sir, another how is it everything we talk about?
It's amazing.
Everything.
And the DOJ, they said that the FBI willfully hid the information from them, which is a huge crime, obviously. And so there's going to be an investigation into Tarmac. And you know, it was the head of the FBI at that time, right? Remember? What was his name?
I think it was Comey. James Comey. And wasn't he paid by the Clintons? Yes. Yes.
So
wasn't his brother paid by the Clintons? Yes. And the Clinton Foundation.
Exactly. All this stuff happened. You see it going at the time, but there's just not enough. There's no other. And then boom, months later, something. Why just be up on I don't get it. Well, wasn't the media have you upfront and honest with us? It's always
I tried to come with everything wanted to share. I actually think the Bushes kind of dabbled in this. I wouldn't say that they were part of it, like it's like deep, but they dabbled and they play along with the game. So we had a stand there many years that was completely screwed up. It's completely fucked. The media is fucked, and it was terrible what's going on now for a while. And I don't understand how people. Here's what I understand. How anybody couldn't see a change was so badly needed. I mean, terribly needed. And it's funny because I saw an interview today. It was hilarious. If you're not familiar with the guy named James Carville, he was
Ragin.
Yeah, he was Bill Clinton's former campaign manager, and now he's a Democratic strategist. And he's got this very funny Southern accent. It's hilarious when you hear him talk. He's very animated, and he's got a high-pitched voice for a man.
I can't even do it.
Yeah,
it's so southern.
My
Southern accent won't even do it justice.
He's an interesting guy, but he was very well thought of in D.C. back in the day. Because, going back to Clinton was 25 years ago, and he said flat out that 80% minimally of all Democrats, he said, his exact words are brain dead. That's exactly what he said. And he actually came out and said that's not the case with conservative Republicans. He said, that's why I'm able to do what I was able to do, because Democrats are so easy to lead, like herds of cows, of cattle. He's like, you put them in a room and just say what you think they'll want to hear, and then they'll just move in any direction. You don't even have to force them; you just direct them. And he said conservatives, specifically part of the Republican Party, will listen and say, no, that's not right, and this is why. So this isn't me calling you people brain dead or idiots. It's not my boy Sal. This is a highly thought of person in your Democratic National Committee party. And I got to be honest with you, I couldn't agree with him more. I actually think it may be a little bit more, but 80% is a good number to think that 8 out of 10 of you are brain dead morons.
In school, they made us watch this documentary. It's called War Room. I'm sure many of you might have seen it too, because it was very popular. It's when Bill Clinton was getting elected, I think the first time or the second time. It was just a documentary about it, and it showed the whole behind the scenes with him. And you really, for me, that was one of the first times I really got to see like the inside world of politicking and the lobbyists and all that stuff and I just realized then like what a big game it was. What a big scam, what a big game. They're all together, but they make you believe that they're not.
Yeah.
That, oh, he's a Democrat, he's a Republican, but behind the scenes they're all toasting with champagne. Like
absolutely. It's like professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Like
who's the bull or who's the heel and who's the good guy.
And then they make believe they hate each other, and they go back and like make all these, I'm gonna get you. And then when the red light turns off, they give each other a high five. They go in the back, have a cold beer, and they split up the money.
That piece of the rhinos that we always talk about and all that.
That's the rhinos that we talk about, exactly. The Hulk Hogan's and the Iron Sheik.
Yeah.
That's what they are. The rhinos are the ones playing the game right along with the Democrats. But Sal brought up something today, and I knew about it, but I didn't see it because I wasn't on the internet. Sal was, and I don't know if you people are familiar with this, but there was something called the Panama Papers, and what this was is in Panama, there was a whistleblower who leaked 11.5 million documents that specifically focused on offshore accounts. And when you're talking about offshore accounts, you're talking pretty much about illegal behavior. You're talking about organized crime.
Illegal assets.
Yeah, you're talking about illegal assets, organized crime. You're talking about what the mob does. Washing money, not paying taxes.
That's what the Panama Papers is all about.
Exactly. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because all these offshore accounts belong to the rich and famous around the world. But interestingly enough, it belongs to a lot of politicians, specifically American politicians. And the reason why Sal brought it to my attention today, and I'm talking about you, was the woman who broke the story.
She leaked all the information.
She came from Politico. Her name was Daphne Galizia. She was from Malta, which, if you guys don't know, is an island off of Italy. And it just happened to be, and this is not a pleasant story to tell you, but it's the truth.
It's a sad story.
It's a sad story. But Daphne Galizia got into her car today. She started it, and it blew up, and she was killed. So that is an organized criminal hit.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't even hide it.
No, they said it.
There's a car bomb.
Car bomb.
An actual car bomb.
A car bomb.
And the picture, it wasn't just like, oh, well, she couldn't escape the fire. No. This thing must have, she must have flew 300 feet in the air.
So think about this, people. The movies we watch that this occurs. When we watch ISIS or something. This is
real.
This is like
real life
IRA shit. If you're familiar with all of these groups, the way ISIS is known for, strapping a bomb on their back and running into a crowd, the suicide bomber. The way Japan was known as kamikaze pilots. The car bomb was key for two groups. One was obviously the mob, but the other one was the IRA, the Irish Republic Army. They were very good at car bombs. And so here's a lady out in Malta, and these people who she ratted on
rich and
had a lot of money, a lot of power. And here she is, gets in her car, boom. And that's a very sad thing, but these people, it seems to me, have no shame. They don't care who they kill. They don't care about anything. And this
if you wrong them, they're scorned.
Yeah.
They have to get back at you.
Yep.
That's how they're like a 3-year-old child.
Yep. And this is something else that we were talking about, and we were talking about the DNC stink. I was doing some investigating last week after our podcast because the Vegas, and I didn't want to get too much into it, but the Vegas shooting just smelled like it was rotting in Denmark. There were so many things coming out, so many parts of the story that I was investigating and researching, which was coming from people that were on the ground, So 2 things occurred this week that were incredibly disturbing. There was a woman, and I forget her first name. I think her last name was Kuchamel. She was very adamant. She took a video on the ground, and she had proof on the video, and I saw it, of a man who was shooting from the ground, the second shooter. She had the video on her phone, and she was sharing it with a lot of individuals and media organizations. She put it on YouTube. They took it down. She put it back up on Instagram. She just kept doing it. She was 28 years old. They found her dead on Wednesday night, 28-year-old woman, dead. Natural causes, they called it, whatever the hell that means. I don't know a lot of healthy 28-year-olds who just go to sleep and don't wake up, but that seems to be the case. So you think, who the hell's involved in this? And then I went and investigated something else, and this was not just the Vegas shooting, but the Orlando shooting. There's an FBI investigator named Aaron Rouse. I said, oh, let's check out this guy, Mr. Rouse. It turns out Mr. Rouse is married to, obviously, his wife, Megan Rouse. But Megan Rouse isn't Megan Rouse. Megan Rouse is Megan Podesta. So she is the daughter of John Podesta, who is Hillary Clinton's right-hand man, right?
The spirit cooker.
The spirit cooker. You know, the guy with the messed up finger, who has a daughter.
The demon worshiper.
Exactly. Has a daughter, but he's raping little boys and girls.
This is all out of his mouth. This
Yeah.
isn't just us saying stuff, bad stuff about this. Is legit facts coming from the dude's mouth.
So then I say to myself, wow, this is really strange. All of a sudden I go delve in a little further and I find that the FBI Vegas investigator, Aaron Rouse's dad, is named Peter Rouse. And guess who Peter Rouse was or is? He was Barack Obama's chief of staff. So automatically this tells me, what the hell is going on? How is it you have all these people dead in Vegas? All these people injured. You have people, like we talked about last week, who are on the ground, who were shot, that can't get in touch with the FBI. Then you have the story that Sal told you about the corruption of FBI with Lynch and Bill Clinton. How is it that every single thing, we've been talking now and have a magnitude of stories we talked about. We've been all over the board on various events happening in America today, in the world. Every fucking one of them had Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, one of their aides, one of their affiliates, one of their best friends, every single one to these horrific events. How can this be and you people still support them?
Yeah, it's unreal. This blind support. And if you ask them too, this is what they'll say to you. Do you really like Trump, though? Do you really think Trump's... It's just like, oh, my God.
Right.
We are not talking about him. We are talking about these people.
Right.
They just cannot ever go against it.
They can't.
They cannot, will not, won't go against it. Their mind, there's something blocking their mind from doing it. Is it a beta blocker? What are they taking?
I call it ideological quicksand. It's like their brain is in quicksand, and it's sinking ever so slowly. If you've ever seen anybody in quicksand, it's a friggin' scary thing because you can't get out, and that just sucks you down. And it's a real thing. If you've ever seen the movies and real, but their brain is in quicksand. It's just being sucked into this vacuum of disease, of disorder, a mental illness. Because all these things we just said, Sal and I talked about, are all proven facts, but they will still defend them and they will still support them. It's mind-altering.
The sad part is the joke is on those people supporting and defending them, because once, God forbid, the Clintons do get their way, they're gonna just throw those people right to the trash. And when I say to the trash, they're gonna kill you. They're gonna kill you. And they're gonna either poison. I mean, they're gonna poison you in your food that you go eat at the supermarket.
Yep.
They're gonna come to your house and rape you. They're gonna demoralize and kill you somehow, some way. It's to make you even more of a sheep to do the bidding. That's, God forbid, if they get their way, which won't ever happen. Thank God.
It is. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out the end game. I think I know what it is about the whole Vegas thing, because without a doubt, the FBI was involved. Without a doubt, they are, just by what I told you today, the people who are involved. And I don't know what the end game was, but I think it was for the gun grab, the Second Amendment. That's what I think. It hasn't been working. Matter of fact, I think it's actually been going stronger. But the crazy part about all this is the facts are so strong of that owning a gun in America and the Second Amendment is so solid that they keep doing this, and they're actually supporting the NRA's argument and people that bear arms. And it's funny, they constantly rag on the NRA and say that they're responsible for these deaths, but there was never an NRA, and no member of the NRA has ever killed anybody in our lifetime, since we've been alive, and this has been in the news. It's all liberal Democrats who have done it.
Okay. Like it's an impossibility. I mean, me and you are very smart people. Let's try to come up with a way right now. How do you get people to give up their guns? How do you do it? You can't.
So they're trying.
You just can't though. But
No.
you see what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Think of a logical way. Like, what are they gonna do? Give $100,000 per gun? Like, how could they possibly get people to give up their guns?
Right. I don't even think people would do it for that. Like the real hardcore. No.
The real hardcore ones, because they probably have a lot of money, would be like, no, I don't want that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're desperate. That's one of they're desperate.
There's no physical way to even perpetrate something like that. Even on how could you take everyone's gun? It's an impossibility, man. It's
Correct.
Impossible.
And just another thing, we've talked about this gentleman before. He's from my alma mater. I saw a series of videos, and you'll never see this on any. Matter of fact, not only will you never see it on any media outlet, and maybe you might see it on Fox here and there, but you're not going to see it. Is that James O'Keefe is a Rutgers graduate where I went to school. He has been doing an incredible job with this organization called Project Veritas. This past week, they exposed the New York Times and Google as
YouTube too.
As YouTube, Google and YouTube, they own each other.
Yeah.
And what he called it was the media carousel. So think about this. You ever see a carousel where the horses, when your kids were little, they went on the carousel? He called it the media carousel, where the stories are just circling in this time frame. And then there was this jerk off named Nick Dudick, who is a former Hillary Clinton aide. So he was in the Clinton White House with Obama when she was Secretary of State, and then he went on to try to help her win the election. They failed as usual, which they all do. This kid is one of the biggest losers you ever want to hear talk. He is the editor for the New York Times, and he controls the flow of information. And he basically went undercover and said that he's lying about every single thing that is said about Donald Trump. He just lies. He just puts out a fake story. And he's going after all the Trump businesses by lying about them as well. Yeah. So this piece of shit just thinks of a heinous thing. No one even remotely cares in the New York Times if it's truth or not. And he just goes with it. He has no oversight whatsoever. So his stories all had to be retracted because they're all fabrications. And I'm shocked he's not fired yet.
If you
he might be.
Like Gary said, if you would just listen to this guy Nick Dudick talk and speak, you don't even have to look at him. You look at him, you know instantly. But if you just hear him talk, you'd be like, this guy isn't fit to run a Subway sandwich shop.
Yeah.
How the hell is he the lead editor of the New York Times?
Yeah, it's true.
And then you see the guy and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, he's like a dipshit. And it's funny because when the person from Project Veritas, one of O'Keefe's women that was on the, doing the undercover video, she asked how he got all this great information, to make up about Donald Trump. He said that James Comey was his godfather. That's what he came out with.
He lied about that.
He lied. James O'Keefe does some good research. They went and looked at his birth certificate. They went to the hospital.
They talked to his father.
They talked to his father. His father, it's hilarious. If you want a good laugh, they talked to his father and said, hey, is James Comey your son's godfather? And he's like, no, where the hell did you get that from?
Like, no.
You're like, no, he's not my son's godfather. So this guy, and then when they asked why he lied, you know what he said? Made a good story. Yeah. Like that's what he said.
That's narcissism.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, narcissism, psychopath at its finest.
It's funny because if you watch the interview, the person said, they gave him a chance. The girl even gave him a chance several times. And he said, no,
backtrack.
And then when she said that, hey, I don't know, obviously Nick Dudick's father's name, but they said, hey, Nick, you talked to your father. Here's the phone number, blah, 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 blah. I spoke to him. He was home from work where he works at blah, blah, blah. And your father's name is blah, blah, blah. And he said this. And he said, if you'd like to call him. He wants to know what the hell you're talking about. It was genius. Yeah. And then when he knew he was in a corner and he was busted, he said, I lied because it sounded good.
Well, his whole tone changed.
Yeah.
He started giving him one-word answers.
Yeah.
Like he was caught with this little tail between his legs. But yeah, just that whole thing that came out, I was like, man, James O'Keefe is on the ball, man.
Very sharp kid, and they do a lot of good work there. And here's the funny part. He was the first one to expose Acorn, and he actually got them defunded back in the day. But since that time, which goes back about 7 years ago, he's done about 8 to 10 excellent exposés, and you will never hear the media talk about it once. This is true journalism. I mean, here's the reason why they don't show James O'Keefe. They're embarrassed because he's actually doing real journalism when these assholes can't even tell the truth. They're like the Pinocchio of journalism. It's a joke. It's like a bullshit tabloid, which has more credibility than the Washington Post or the ABC, CNBC News, which is.
I think one channel does play. Like, we don't watch much cable news.
No, we don't.
House, but I think because I see clips on the internet, I think that
America OWN.
They play this stuff. But I don't even know the channel number, what channel it is.
If I'm not mistaken, now I'm going to say this. Now I don't know if it's true.
They play that stuff,
but I think Levin, Mark Levin, I think that's his station. I heard a lot of good things about it. So
yeah,
I'm going to have to start watching that. Sal brings up a great point because I have America Network. I heard it's a phenomenal network, and they have their stuff's all researched out. It's all factual based. I don't know if you know Levin. He's brilliant. He's a very bright dude. They call him the Great One because that's how smart he is. He's an ex-lawyer, but he's conservative as the day is long, and he attacks. He's a pit bull, and he's a very smart guy. So yeah, that they do show, but I don't watch cable news. I don't watch cable at all really anymore.
Yeah, they do a bunch of investigations.
Yeah,
I rarely ever see it though because I think they. Like every other conservative news thing, they just
they
push it down.
Oh yeah,
you don't.
I mean, it's really a travesty that you don't hear about any of this.
I mean, not even the self publicize ourselves, but look at our videos, guys. When we post a video, within a day, that thing is shot down to Gary's page. It's like all the way at the bottom.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, I put that on my Facebook page. That thing is buried
within a day.
I mean, it's buried, and then
post from 3 days ago will be at top.
Yeah,
like,
and I'm
so weird.
And I'm trying to sometimes share it. It won't allow. Sal tries to go boost it. They won't allow him to.
I'll just be perfectly honest and candid now. Like, guys, the past 2 weeks I've been trying to sell the advertising for this show. They wouldn't let me do it. Last week I barely got it out. They barely let me get it out, and that took a full. That was a full 12 hours of review, and they finally passed it. These reviews are instantaneous. They're usually passed within 5 minutes. So for them to take fucking 12 hours to get this video passed, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They probably watched it 13 different times, and they're like, all right, I guess we could put it out.
Yeah, and I just wanted to kind of
that's it.
Yeah, that's entirely true. And so that's the media that what's going on with all this censorship. And when you have Google, you got to understand something. We all know this. This is monsters of media. I mean, Google and YouTube they're the shit, man. I mean, they make Facebook here. Google and YouTube are like here. I mean, Google is the most widely used app across the entire world every day. I mean, I think one day they do more hits than, if you put Google and YouTube together, they do more hits than almost every single other app combined. Those two. And they're censoring what is being said. They're controlling the flow of information. And so here on Facebook, we all know, we've discussed it probably 2 or 3 podcasts in a row about what's going on with Facebook and what Obama signed, the renegade group. So we have to be, vigilant and not let this happen and kind of continually get the message out there, talk to each other, try not to be, try to stop the censoring. Our freedom of speech is being threatened. That's a horrific thing. Horrific.
Yeah. All right, I want to give a little clap to our boy. I wrote down the name Kurtz and not the guy from Apocalypse Now.
Yes.
Talking about Kurtz, the new leader of Austria. He's 31 years old. He's the youngest leader. I wouldn't say they're the free world, but
he probably is.
I don't know. Austria is always known for harboring Nazis and stuff. But hey. This dude,
of any country probably though. He's pretty young.
He's definitely the youngest. But why am I talking about Austria and their new leader? This is just part of the solution right now, guys, to the end of globalism. They're stopping it.
Yep.
With this guy in Turkey, they're stopping it. Yep. I mean, I know these countries are a little suspect and whatever, sketchy, but yeah, maybe they're trying to turn the tide right now and become better. Let's just hope and pray.
Yeah, I mean that's it, and the thing that Sal mentioned is this gentleman is a conservative. He wants to go back to traditional values, things of that nature. And
same in Australia, they're doing trying to do the same thing now.
Yeah, they got it. It's a mess. So that's a great thing.
So there's just big groundswells up against this globalist bullcrap, because we all know it's evil and sadistic. So good thing. Good thing.
Excellent.
Good thing.
Anything else?
Let's talk real fast about the drug companies.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it.
It came out, there was a news report about the drug companies and Congress have been behind the opioid crisis and supporting it.
Yeah.
And I want to say to everyone who didn't know that before, where were you? How did you not know this already?
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the war in Afghanistan and why we went in there and why we've been there for so long, think about where the world's heroin and opiates come from. 97, 98% of it.
Yep.
Afghanistan. Now, I'm not saying going in there wasn't right to get rid of all the terrorists and Al-Qaeda and all that. Hell yeah, we should have did that. But let's call it what it is. We went in there for resources as well. Like, the U.S. is stealing all the opiates, all the heroin, all the poppy seeds out there, bringing it back, and then selling it to all the youths out here. When did the opioid crisis start? 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006?
It's been, here's the thing. I think it's been going on for a lot longer, but it's got more in the headlines because they're fabricating like much stronger drugs and they're mixing
fentanyl,
them.
Car fentanyl.
Exactly.
Now, the reason I say this is like, you don't see Congress is behind. They're getting free money, people. Free money.
Yep.
They're selling crazy drugs to everyone, and they're making huge profits. 100% profit, basically, because they went into Afghanistan, and now it's theirs. Like, my big point behind all this was, everyone who didn't realize drug companies and Congress was behind the opioid crisis. Thank you for finally getting your heads out of your asses.
Right. Well, it's interesting that Sal brings this up because when I first came out of college, I worked on Wall Street. I worked on the World Trade Center. But then I got into the pharmaceutical industry for a bunch of years. But in 1988, 89, I had interviewed, and I was fortunate that I interviewed with a bunch of companies, and 7 companies wanted to hire me. So I had my choice. I had 7 offers. And obviously, that's when the economy was good. That's like almost like the Reagan days, the good old Reagan days. But one of the companies was a company named Purdue Frederick, which is out of Connecticut. It was a very wealthy family, and their claim to fame was a painkiller that was new to the market that was going to be a blockbuster called oxycodone. And they offered me a job, and they offered me a lot of money, and it was enticing. But then I got an offer from another company that had now this company only had one drug, and it always made me nervous, even as a young man, to put all my eggs in one basket, because anything ever goes wrong, you're out of a job. And that's the way I thought. And I thought, I was asking about the pipeline, and all they had was, derivatives of this painkiller called OxyContin. And I would be lying if I told you that I didn't do it, because I would know that OxyContin was a bad thing like it is today. But I just knew I was like, oh, you're just dealing with one type of patient, and something goes wrong, which can always happen in this industry. FDA can come down, but obviously they didn't, because like Sal mentioned, everybody was making a lot of money. So I didn't go with the job, and I went somewhere else. Well, come to find out that the government was aiding and abetting Purdue Frederick and this family for this reason, because they were getting lobbyists and kickbacks to give a lot of money, a lot. So this, if you think about it, though, in a strange sort of way, this probably went back to the late, 89, 90, but it just came to our attention recently because there have been so many deaths.
They're making God bless you. They're making it so much more powerful. Like fentanyl is 100 times stronger than OxyContin.
Exactly.
Carfentanil is 1,000 times stronger than fentanyl.
Right.
So like you take, like you don't even have a shot. You're taking it, you're gonna overdose and die.
Well,
you have no shot.
Right, and that's what's happening. And it's interesting, people, because I just had, and I also want to thank everyone for the well-wishes. I just had my surgery a couple weeks ago, and I was given OxyContin, or a derivative of it. And I never really take meds. Even when I busted my neck and back, I didn't take any pain meds. But when my uvula was torn, I couldn't eat, and I felt like my ears. It felt like I had 2 earaches, like my head was pounding. And I said to the doctor, I can't take it. It's making me nuts. And he said, this drug will work great on your throat, because it's not like it's not concentrating on a muscle. It's just one thing So it'll work really well. And it did. I did take it. Me personally, I'm a fast metabolizer. I never felt high. I never felt relaxed. It just was happy that my ears weren't ringing like a bell.
Eat, right?
Yeah, and I could get some food down. I mean, I hadn't eaten in 15 days, of any substance. But so I understand there's a place for this stuff. But like Sal mentioned, you're talking about these things that are 1,000 times stronger. People think it's a pill. Yeah. That's the scary part. When you look at an innocuous little pill, you think it's like an aspirin. Ah, fuck it. I got a headache. I take 2 aspirin. Give me 3. Hey, those are normal pain pills. I usually take 2. Give me 4. And then they're dying.
And you're fucking dead.
Or they're mixing with what do you call it? Like ecstasy. Then your heart just stops.
Yeah. But it's going to slow. Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. It's going to explode or it's going to slow down until it stops. Either way, like you're dead.
Exactly. But so our point is the government is involved in everything. And Sal saw a movie this past weekend. He didn't pay for it, but he saw it called American Made.
Oh, yeah.
And he was telling me about and let me tell you something. I thought the timing of this movie was incredible. Of course, when they released it, they didn't know that all this was going to go down. The story with Stephen Paddock, and I won't get into that. That'll be for another time. But it's perfect for what's going on in our world today.
Yeah, American Made is about Barry Seal.
Yep.
Pretty decent movie. It was pretty good. Pretty easy to follow, too. Yeah. It's pretty short. It's like an hour 40.
Yep.
Barry Seal was this guy who was a pilot, and he got...
It's played by Tom Cruise, right?
He got tapped into, I guess, by the CIA, FBI to do photograph missions of communist countries in South America, Central America. So he was doing it for a while, and he realized he wasn't getting paid much money. So the CIA was like, "Hey, man, figure it out. You're doing these missions. You're going down there all the time. Figure out a way that they make money." So he figured it out.
Yep. Yeah. And these guys, that's what they're all doing. They're doing opioid use and guns.
Yeah,
this is what they're doing. I mean, this is what is going on in our government today, or has been. Yeah. So things need to be cleaned up.
That's a true story, the Barry Seal.
It's true.
I'll give it away. Hopefully, it doesn't shut the site down because I like watching movies on it. fmovies.2. You can watch it. It's on there right now.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I said, you got anything else?
Yeah. I don't want to talk. I have one other thing.
Go for it.
Nah, I don't want.
You all right? Yeah. All right. I just want to mention, and coming up in the next couple of weeks, guys. I don't know if you guys ever, a lot of you saw it on my page, but last week I got in touch with Mike Marino. Mike Marino got in touch with me. He's a really great comedian. He's been all over the globe. He's touring right now as we speak throughout America, Canada, and he's from Jersey. And he's a super cool guy. And after we're done with the podcast, I'm gonna put up the video again. He was on Byron Allen. I don't know if you remember him. He's a black guy who's a comedian. He had Mike Marino on his show. And his famous clip, which got millions and millions of views, was why there should be an Italian president from New Jersey. And it's hilarious. And I'll put it on my Facebook, and you guys can look at it. But this guy is one of the nicest, coolest guys you ever want to meet. Matter of fact, when I was on the phone with him, Joe Piscopo, of Saturday Night Live fame, called him, was on the phone with him. And I told Mike to tell Joe Piscopo, I said, hi. And Joe Piscopo said, hey, Gabagool, what's up? So I thought that was cool. Give a shout out to Gabagool. So that was cool. But Mike said an interesting thing. We were talking about Hollywood, and we didn't even know this was going to happen yet. This was last Monday. Yeah. Well, it did happen, but we didn't know the extent of it. But Mike said, and I asked about Hollywood. And he said, Hollywood has some good people, but it's full of a lot of douchebags. He goes, and he used a cliche or analogy I love. He goes, I'm all about passing the salt, and I thought that was so cool. So he's like all about helping people. So Mike is going to be on the show in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
we're back,
Mikey,
and we're going to have a great show. And then we're going to return the favor, and we're going to go on Mike's show. So it's going to be a fun night. So we'll let you guys know when that's happening.
Yeah, we'll give you plenty of time.
We'll see what's going on. So I guess that's it. So a crazy week.
Let's get the music going.
We'll get Barracuda going again, because you can't end or start with a better song. So my boy Sal, Gary Gabagool, 28 Red Podcast. Everyone have a great week. Yes. First day of autumn. Gabagool out. Peace. Take care. That was good, brother. That was our best show. How long did we go?
Would you like to keep the post? I think so.
A minute, an hour and 3.